Hi, Benita. So that was the third night of riots that we saw in a row last night. Again, we saw a number of Palestinians who were injured with live ammunition. The majority of them were injured with tear gas and other light injuries, but some were, of course, injured by this live ammunition fired by the Israeli soldiers. We've only heard reports of those injured, but today we are also hearing that they are going to be out in force along the border, at least in 5 different locations. That's due to take place later this evening, but it, of course, comes as they say they want to ramp up pressure on Israel and try to exert pressure on them to get Israel and Egypt to reduce restrictions and try to lighten the blockade that's been in effect on the Gaza Strip since 2007. But we are, of course, today seeing a number of new restrictions actually being eased amidst all these night confusion units, including the entry of construction iron that's to be used for civilian projects, entering through the Kerem Shalom crossing for the first time in 3 months since that flare-up back in May.
We heard some strong warnings from Aviv Kochavi, the IDF chief. Talk to us about the impact from the airstrikes by the IDF overnight and in recent nights as well.
Yeah, so in recent months, since the end of that May flare-up that I just mentioned, we have seen this new calculation rising between Israel and the Palestinians, not necessarily a new one, but at least the one on the ground at the moment, that Israel responding to airstrikes in addition to anything happening on the border, including the launching of incendiary arson balloons, which have damaged a significant amount of Israeli farmland over the years. So we've also seen, since that May operation, we've seen Israel responding even to those with airstrikes. There are no casualties reported from these airstrikes. In fact, most of them have not been deadly since the end of that operation, including when there were a number of Hamas militants who were killed by these airstrikes. But since then, we've seen the majority of airstrikes targeting Hamas weapons manufacturing and storage facilities inside the Gaza Strip. So just this week is the same type of thing that we've taken, where they're really striking their military sites and not aiming to cause a lot of casualties.
And Mary, as you say, this has continued now for several nights in a row. What are security experts saying? Is this continued escalation likely?
We're seeing many different voices from within the security establishment about what these border riots mean and what they should mean. So as I said, it also comes as Israel is easing restrictions. And we also saw Benny Gantz meet with the Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas, who rules the West Bank, and they agreed to try and do a number of measures to try and lighten the economic load that's in the territory. So today, with the entry of fuel and other things like this, is a step towards calm. But Aviv Kochavi, the chief of staff, is warning that if calm isn't maintained, the economic relief measures will be the first thing to end, and following that, if the situation does not improve, that they will not hesitate to launch a full operation.